How does a single drone strike 3,000 kilometers away in the Middle East instantly inflate your fuel bill and trigger a diplomatic emergency? आज के इस video में, we decode this specific sequence of events and map it directly to your UPSC GS Paper 2 syllabus. On June 3, 2026, an Iranian-linked drone struck Terminal 1 at Kuwait International Airport. The blast forced an immediate suspension of all commercial flights. Kuwait's health ministry reported 63 people injured, including airport staff and passengers, and confirmed the death of one Indian national. This strike occurred as part of the broader war sparked by the U.S.-Israeli bombing of Iran in February. Following a U.S. strike on an Iranian ground control station at Kesh Island, Tehran launched this retaliation against Gulf nations hosting American military installations. Iran's Revolutionary Guards deny targeting the terminal. They claim the damage was actually caused by a malfunctioning U.S.-made Patriot missile that failed to intercept incoming projectiles and fell onto the airport building. Regardless of whose projectile hit the terminal, a localized exchange of fire in the Gulf forces an immediate response from New Delhi. The escalation threatens the welfare of millions of Indian workers and the energy security that powers the domestic economy. Looking at the Persian Gulf, Kuwait shares land borders with Iraq and Saudi Arabia, sitting in direct maritime proximity to Iran. Moving further down the coast, the geography tightens into the region's critical vulnerability, the Strait of Hormuz, separating Oman and Iran. This aerial view reveals the high density of shipping in these crucial waters. The Strait of Hormuz is the world's most vital corridor for the transport of crude oil and liquefied natural gas. Any threat to vessels in this narrow passage triggers immediate panic in commodity markets. Within hours of the airport strike, global crude prices jumped by 2%. This data shows the direct link between global energy prices and India's current account deficit. Because India imports over 80% of its oil, these price spikes mean the government must spend more foreign exchange reserves for the same volume of fuel. Geographical instability in the Gulf translates into imported inflation. When energy arteries are threatened, the impact is felt directly by the Indian consumer at the petrol pump. Beyond these economic figures is the reality of the diaspora. Approximately 8.5 million Indian citizens live and work in the Gulf, making them the most exposed civilian population whenever these hostilities flare up. This leads to a specific legal question. Does the Indian state have a duty to protect citizens when they are outside its own sovereign territory? Article 21 of the Constitution guarantees the right to life and personal liberty. The Indian legal system interprets this as a mandate for the government to protect its citizens abroad through every available diplomatic and legal channel. The mechanism for this protection is the Vienna Convention on Consular Relations, an international treaty signed in 1963. Under this convention, the Ministry of External Affairs activates specific protocols, securing access to injured citizens, establishing emergency communication lines, and coordinating the repatriation of victims. The response to the Kuwait drone strike demonstrates the systematic application of domestic constitutional duty through international diplomatic law. To remember the pillars of India's Gulf policy, use the acronym SECURE: safety, evacuation, consular support, upward mobility, remittances, and energy. The remittances pillar is vital. The money sent home by the diaspora helps balance the very energy deficit created by our oil imports. When diplomacy isn't enough, India uses its military transport capacity for evacuations. We saw this during Operation Rahat in Yemen in 2015, and more recently with Operation Kaveri in Sudan in 2023. These operations show that the Indian government relies on institutional doctrines and historical experience to manage Middle Eastern crises. Instructive. For your exam preparation, this news event covers 3 syllabus headings: energy security in GS Paper 3, and both the diaspora and the effects of foreign policy in GS Paper 2. A potential mains question would ask you to evaluate how West Asian conflicts impact India's energy security and the safety of its citizens abroad. You should structure your answer by linking Gulf dependency to our energy vulnerability, followed by the MAA's consular protocols. Conclude by discussing the importance of India maintaining strategic autonomy in a polarized region. Prelims questions often focus on mapping. you must identify regional choke points, like the Strait of Hormuz, and match them to the countries that control their coastlines. You also need to be familiar with the Vienna Convention on Consular Relations and the specific rights it grants to foreign nationals during a crisis. To master the civil service syllabus, you must connect these geopolitical events to their static, legal, and geographic foundations. The Kuwait drone strike is a direct outcome of the broader US-Israel-Iran war. As long as these hostilities continue, global supply chains and the energy trade remain in a precarious state. Agar aapko ye video helpful laga, let us know in the comments. Which part of our deep dive will you include in your next practice answer? The geography of Hormuz or the consular protocols? Subscribe to stay updated. In the next video, we will break down the latest US-Iran peace talks and their potential impact on Indian trade policy.